Hi, I'm Todd Nauck. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm doing a commission, a pre-con commission for New York Comic Con here in October 2019 of Captain America, classic Captain America. So today is the pencil art video. So let's flip the camera around and let's get to drawing. Okay, here we go. So I have a 9x12 piece of Canson Bristol board. I use Strathmore or Canson Bristol boards. So usually with a smooth texture and using a 0.3 HB lead mechanical pencil. This is an Uni Crua Toga pencil here. So let's start to roughen the head here. See where Cap takes us. So I'm gonna kind of bring the figure this way, down, starting from the left and moving to the right here. Just I like the way that it utilizes the space of the board, not just static right in the center, but just a little off of left of center, as they might say, and gives us some nice motion to Cap and to the design element of the page, not just static dead center. Nothing wrong with putting things dead center, but sometimes it can be a little too, I'm not quite sure the right word. I don't want to say boring, but just design wise, just moving a little left of center or a little right of center just can create some nice visual movement design wise, I guess is what I wanted to say. So I just want to start to rough in his head, neck to shoulders. Then we have the biceps here. Start to put in the rest of the torso. Just kind of making edits as I go. Just kind of letting the piece come to life as I sketch in the rough shapes. Shoulder. Just really rough breakdown. Let it be rough at first, because it's easier to kind of hone in as you go when you realize, yes, that's where I want things, and if you realize, no, that's not where I want things, much easier to erase. Helps develop a light touch to the pencil line application onto the board. I can adjust how thick or thin he is. If I think the body is too thin, I can beef him up. If I got him too beefy, I can slim him down to try to find the most ideal Captain America physique. I want to make sure he's not as bulky as the Hulk, but not as slender as Spider-Man. Trying to find that perfect, well, I shouldn't say perfect, but the ideal, I think is a better word for it. The ideal Captain America physique. Now I have his belt here, buckle right there in the center of his pelvic area. Give him some pouches. So just really rough details here starting off. We'll see how tight we can make these pencils in this video. Start to put in the eye line, nose line, mouth line, forehead, top of the head. Know the ears are going to go right over here. Make sure the neck has a nice thickness to it. Gonna tuck this arm over here. The shield. I think that's where I want a shield. I want a shield in this arm. Maybe I'll put it in this arm. I want to know where the whole arm is before I put the shield in. So that's where his fist would be to hold the strap. So if I put the shield over here, could be nice. Got two ways I can go here to start to rough in the legs. This is just a half figure, so this commission will only go down to the upper thighs usually. It's a little more than half figure, technically. I like to give at least to the upper thighs if I can. A lot of it depends on the shape of the figure, but most traditional superheroes, I usually go to the upper thigh for my half figure commissions. Just continue to just hone it in bit by bit. Pec leading into the bicep. Neck muscles coming down here to the center of the clavicle. So you'll have a star right there in the center. I want these stripes that come through here. This is going to be classic Cap, so he's going to have the shorts on. We'll have the wings on the mask here a little bit later on. So we'll just, pretty sure we're going to go with the left-handed shield. Now this shield's going to be challenging to draw because it's a very oval shape, and I don't have an oval template this size, so a lot of it will be penciled in freehand. Then I'll have to use my French curves to try to approximate the correct curves there, but we'll deal with that when it's closer to that time. I have a battle-ready fist over here. Knuckle, 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 knuckle. I like to make the knuckles arc. Not just, don't draw the knuckles straight across, but it goes index finger to ring finger, no, middle finger, index finger to middle finger, ring finger, pinky. And then those meaty parts of the palm. The thumb tucks over the index finger. That's where the digits bend to make the fist. Then we put the glove on. So I like to know where the full forearm is. And then I put the glove on top of it to make sure that his arm fills out, his forearm fills out correctly. I just don't draw the fist in the shape of the glove, then finish out the forearm. I like to know where the full forearm is. I think it really helps me with the, get a little closer in the accuracy that I would want. I want to widen out this star. I want a nice big star. Double check my legs here. Just getting kind of just the bulk muscles in. Just some of the main ones like the quads, inner thigh muscle. Not sure if I'll use all these muscles, all these lines when I go to ink, but it's nice to know I have them in place so that my shapes will fit together as accurately as possible when I moved to my inking choices. And let's see if we can get this face a little more fleshed out here. So with the face, once we figure out the shape of the head, get the head going just right. Now I practice this. I mean, I do this every time I draw a face pretty much. So it's like second nature for me. So from the top of the head to the chin is where the eye line goes. Halfway from the eye line to the chin is where the nose line goes. Halfway from the eye line to the chin, or from the nose line to the chin is where the mouth goes. Generally speaking, depending on the shape of the person's face. But that's kind of the initial guideline. You can adjust depending on the person's face that you're drawing. Start to rough in the eyes. I figure out where the eyebrows are, even though I'm not going to draw his eyebrows in because they'll be covered by his mask. I like to use the eyebrows as the... Actually, I need to rework those eyes. Not quite working for me. They're set a little too low. I think I misaligned my guidelines, but that's the reason why we get really sketchy at first, so we can course correct far more easily at this time than committing to tight pencils or inks and not being able to make the course correction if we realize something is set where we don't want it to be, or maybe where it should be. His pupils and irises looking off there to the side. For the nose, I bring the bridge down to the tip. I like to just start with a little diamond shape right there for the tip of the nose. Bring in the nostrils. Cheekbones, pulling down to the chin. I like to put in that little trough between the nose and the top lip. I'll make sure that jaw is an appropriate squareness, strong squareness for a cap. Then his A on his forehead. Since I know where the top of the forehead guideline is, that kind of helps me know where to put the top of the A. I like to make a big chunky A. I've always enjoyed the big graphic shape chunky A. That's what I call it, the big chunky A on his forehead. And then, so I know where the temples are here. That's where I like to put the wings. Don't want the wings set too high, don't want them set too low. Okay. Then we got those sleeves there where the blue separates from the white. where the blue separates from the stripes. Looks like we won't need the shield, so we will take this one out. Because it's always fun to see the actual star and stripes of his shield. So I didn't want to deny the client. All right, so now we have a red stripe, then a white stripe, then another red stripe, then the center. Since this is at a bit of an angle, we're not looking at the shield straight on, to kind of convey that curvedness to it. Curvedness? Is that a word? I think I just made up a new word. Curvedness? It's the curved aspect of his shield. The stripes are going to be thicker on this side, and then the side that's further away from us, they're going to be thinner. This is just my rough guideline. I'll be using my drafting tools when it comes to inking this. So we have the red stripe, the white stripe, then we have another red stripe, which will then also give us the center of his shield, where the star will go. This is the general and classic, iconic number of red and white stripes. One red, red, white, red, then the blue center with the star in the middle. And so we start to create a star here, knowing where the kind of the center of the shield is. That's where the top of the star will go. Also considering the curve of the shield, I'm going to curve my star just a bit so it reflects the shape of the, and when I say reflects, not as in shiny reflects, but that it informs the shape of the curve of the shield. I think I may have made the shield a little too big, so I'm going to bring it in just a little bit here. Can make some adjustments as I go. Just to shave it down just a little bit. Just a little. Definitely don't want the shield too small, but then again, we also don't want it too big. But seam down here, the fly on his shorts. All right, so that's the initial pencils or pencil sketch here for Captain America. Now, to move to type pencils, what I want to do to help differentiate what lines are which, let's get rid of some of those eraser shavings. What I'm going to do is take my kneaded art gum eraser. It's a kind of piece of clay-like eraser. You can just stretch it out to refresh the eraser. Create a nice little clump here. And now with this, just going to do a light erasing. So I'm just kind of pulling up some of these lines. It's not going to be quite so sketchy, not a sketch mess. This is just going to leave a nice little ghost image of Cap. Of all that work I did, it's just going to leave me a nice little ghost image that I can then go back. So as we can see there, I can still see a good chunk of the detail. But a lot of those very light sketchy lines have now disappeared, which is good because now it's not quite as messy. And now I can come in and start to do tighter pencils. And you'll see a much cleaner pencil illustration here. That was a kneaded art gum eraser. Since I can still see it, see everything that I had, not everything, but the key points of the illustration, of the sketch. I can now come in and bring that tightness that I want. Don't often do this in my videos, but I figured let's try to give y'all some tight pencils here this go around. So you can see what it looks like to when I break down an illustration, and oftentimes I would just go right into inks. I would just leave it all sketchy and go right to inks. But sometimes it's nice to ink off of nice tight pencils. Now I felt that the chin wasn't long enough. We needed a little bit more, a little more chin there. A little dimple in the chin. A little separation of the. In fact, let's push the camera in here a little closer for y'all, so you can see the details a bit better. Since we're now into the more detailed stage of the illustration. Get the pupils, the black parts of the eye, the iris, the color part of the eye. Now from the bridge of the nose, going to come down underneath the eye hole of the mask, down to the jaw. I'll do that. I will erase as I go to make sure I like the shape of whatever it is I'm drawing. Now let's see from the angle, because the face is not quite straight on. It's looking a little to the left. I'm not going to see quite as much of this ear. So I want it to be more of a sliver on that side, so it doesn't look like he's got big, wide, sticky outy ears. Nothing wrong with wide, sticky outy ears. I think they actually can look really cool, but it's not really what we expect to see with Captain America. I have a creator-owned character named Snapback, and he's got ears that kind of stick out from his head, which are always fun to draw. Of my creator-owned series, Wild Guard. And then the wings here have the little housing, then they come over, up, and out, over, up, out. So it almost looks like the Flash there until we start to add subsequent feathers. From this side, so if we imaginary line to right about there, it'd be on that side of the head, coming up and out. These muscles are very practiced. When you do this over and over and over again, this is why we say practice, becomes second nature, becomes muscle memory as you remember the muscles. So study and practice is key. And so now I'm choosing the lines. These are the lines that I will probably end up inking. So when I do the inks here, a lot of the choices will now have already been made here in the type pencils, which is totally cool, totally fine. I might make some slight adjustments as I ink, because an inking pen or nib or brush is going to give you a different effect than pencil lead. But we'll address that more when it's time to ink. Not putting a lot of detail here in his abs because of the stripes. Hello, eraser. Just roll on in. So the pouches are essentially little boxes, little rectangular boxes. I can add trim. Little snap there, little fold, because they have some give. They're expandable depending on what he fills his pouches with. Maybe some trail mix or some, his identification and credit card, cell phone charger, maybe one of those little cell phone chargers. Make a buckle here, give him that classic Captain America buckle. Gonna put little X's there. That means fill that in black. When it comes to the inks, some wrinkles here at the joint of the thighs meeting the groin area. Keep a curved sort of vibe to his legs there. Let's come over here and work on this right arm. So since I did the leg work to figure out where his forearm is underneath there, now that I'm doing the tighter pencils, since I've already done the math, figured out the equation, I just skipped that step right there. It's not necessary anymore. Some wrinkles at where the elbow meets. Some wrinkles at the wrist here. takes care of the fist. Some little details here on the knuckles, maybe a little wrinkle there across that part of the glove. Little seam right there. Knuckle, 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 knuckle. See these little detail lines here I added? Keeping in mind the curve. I want to keep in mind that curve of the glove. Just won't want to throw those types of lines down any which way. They need to, in most instances, inform the shape and the curve of whatever it is. So if I wanted to throw some little cross hatching here on the rib cage, then I'm going to move in the direction of the muscle. It's not quite the rib cage, but y'all know what I mean. That little chunk of just above this six pack. I'm going to put a few little wrinkles here at the waistline. Drawing the shape. So we have a red stripe in the middle. And the white stripe, and then a thin red stripe on that side. So we have that red there, and then, so we have a white right there, and then this will be red. Always starts with red in the middle. Red in the middle, then alternating red and white out from there. So another pouch, a little trim, a little snap, a little fold, a little wrinkle. All right, so we're getting to the point here where we gotta get this shield drawn in. So I'm gonna use my French curve. This is a French curve right here. This is one of my larger French curves, the one I use the most. I can line up all these different curves to the curves I need to draw. And I can break it up in sections. So I got that section, I can flip it around and then line it up so see, we're starting to get a nice smooth curved line right there. I have a little bit of excess right there, which I wouldn't need. So let's see. Let's continue this with this portion. This is all going to go step by step by step. This is where drafting tools are crucial to a comic creator. We use these for all sorts of backgrounds, tech, vehicles, pretty much anything inorganic that needs a curve, that we want to have a nice smooth line. Not necessarily straight, but how we use a ruler to draw, or a triangle to draw straight lines. We use French curves to draw smoother curved lines. So using my sketch as a guideline, just lining up the curve I need with the curve of the French curve to try to get there as best I can. All right, so now I'm going to flip around to the other side. Try to match up. Now the top and bottom I'll have to figure out separately, but right now I just want to do the quote end quote sides of the shield, the left side and the right side. Now our stripes get thinner on this far side to kind of give the illusion of a dome-like curvature, depending on the angle of that of the shield can determine how much of that dome either shows or hides the stripes on the opposite side. Hopefully I'm keeping this all in camera frame, so focused on the, but see, it's focused on, you know, getting these lines down. But as you can see, it's starting to come together. It's starting to come out nice and crisp, because if I try to do this freehand, it'd be pretty wobbly. Far more wobbly than I would want it to be. And I don't want wobbly lines, not on a shield, not on something inorganic like Cap's shield. I want nice, clean cuts here. Now some parts might be free-handed, like here at the tops and bottoms, but these longer lines, I feel more comfortable using drafting tools. So let's see, I might utilize my ellipse template. Let me see if any of these, so I have this ellipse template. Unfortunately, none of these ellipses are large enough to cover, to do the full shield. That would have been ideal. Get back in focus there. So I don't think any of these ellipses are going to work for the top part of the shield. That might get close. Maybe I can utilize some of these. So I'm just using just a portion of the ellipse. So I can line it up with the curve I need to connect the curves together. And there we go. There's the top part of that center part of his shield. And I'll do the same using those same, the 1.5. Is that the 1.5? No, it's the 1 5/8 curved, but just one portion of it. Sorry, it's kind of tough to show the detail of what I'm doing here. Hopefully you're able to kind of get a feel. I'm trying to keep, it's a little challenging when I have the template over the art and then my hands and pencil over that. But it helps it come together. Let's see, if I use a larger portion of a curve, can I get to, yeah, it looks like this one here was at the 2-inch. Helps me get the next ring out. Doing this in type pencil will help me. So see, there we go. It's, yeah, it's working. It's working to get the job done. So this is, so you want to look into getting French curves and ellipse templates for your comic art tool arsenal. They are going to be necessary. All right, and let's go even further out. We'll just go ahead and try the 2 1/4 ellipse curve. And this is the 40-degree ellipse that I'm using here. You can see here they have the degrees, 40-degree, I'm sorry, 45-degree, 30-degree, 15-degree, 60-degree. So I'm using the 40-degree one for this angle. And doing this in pencil will really help when I go to inks, because I'll know that they all fit. I know that they all work. So it makes my inks a little less precarious, a little less, am I going to mess this up? Because I know I did it with the pencils, so it's going to make it easier. I'm going to have more confidence in pulling this off in the inks. It's a little time consuming, but it's worth it to get the finished look that you're looking for. You know, that's what we're working towards. So can I use that same 2 1/4? Just readjust the angle. I think that might work. Just because I really like how these ellipse templates are helping me get the tops and bottoms of these rings, these shield stripes. So this is how I create a shield when it's too large to use my ellipse template, because sometimes I can just use my ellipse template for every ring of the shield. You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. But when it's really big, then I've got to build it piece by piece. But it's definitely worth it in the end when you get to the finished product, you know. So there we go. There is Cap's shield, drawn with ellipse template and a French curve. Now I want to use this French curve now for the star, because, you know, as we discussed, this is a dome shape, and there's going to be a curve to it, so the star is going to curve around that shape, around that dome-like shape. So I want to use this tool here, and since I have my guidelines, I can just draw in, pencil in each line that I want. Like I don't have to draw through the middle portion. So I can just take it to each intersection. So I need a little more curve there. Just going to freehand that little extra curved bit. And then this part that goes across here. Curving up and over there. The blue part often has a kind of a black shadow chunk to it. So we're going to start to rough that in. Let's just go ahead and fill in the shadow part here, just to see how it'll look. In fact, maybe there's a little reflected light chunk here underneath. Maybe a little extra shine chunk. And oftentimes we have kind of that reflection of the world around him. So we put kind of a heavier shadow here in the red section. Just give some fun detail to the red. Oops, sorry, so sorry, that was off screen there. Slide that back in. Just like that. And then, so if it squiggles around, then over to this side. Don't need that white part there in the white. Erase, erase, erase. Okay. And that takes care of his shield. Let's just go ahead and fill in these blacks on his belt, just so we can see what it looks like all filled in. All right, so now we have the star on his chest. Since his chest is essentially curves, I want the star to curve. So I'm going to use my French curve again and start curving the star around his chest. Now I can just go ahead and draw this line straight through if I want it. I want to be careful not to bear down too much. but you can always go this route if you want. Just doing this to show a different approach to French curving the stars in. Don't bear down too hard because we're going to erase out those center lines. And if you bear down too hard, they will ghost image there and you'll be stuck with them. So we don't want that. That's why I prefer to not pencil them all the way through, because then I don't run the risk of that ghost image. Now I'll take my kneaded art gum eraser and erase out those center parts. Just gonna reestablish those lines there. All right, so now that I look at that, it looks like this part of the star is not as thick as that part. So I'm just going to make an adjustment here. Just to make it a little thicker. All right, now for the A, because it's small enough, I can do this freehand. Otherwise, if it's like a big close-up shot of Cap's face, if it were like on the comic book page in the panel, I'd probably use my French curve to get these curves down. I like to, since this A and the star is on a organic shape, which would be Cap's head and chest, I want it to curve around the forehead, just so it helps look a little more organic. And since this is classic Cap's costume, I always liked that. I believe it was it John Buscema, Jack Kirby, John Buscema, back in the 60s and 70s, would put a nice heavy black shadow on his forehead. I always liked how it made the A pop off of his forehead. Now I'll go in and add just a few more shadows here and there. And then the kind of the mask collar. Then we have the scales. Now, the scales can be drawn all sorts of ways. You can draw them like kind of like Aquaman scales, or the little curves, or you can draw them kind of like this waffle. A waffle pattern. I'm kind of walk between the two. It's a slight shadow on the bottom side of each scale chunk. Then it kind of breaks up as we get closer to the light above, so we don't need as many. All right, so let's continue this. So now I'm going to curve over a different way around, keeping in mind the curvature of his chest essentially is what I'm going to say here. Chest to the upper part of his abdomen. It's going to curve around this way. So got a little too thin right there. Let's see if we can adjust that. So I take my time. I've done this multiple times. I've drawn Captain America more times than I can remember. So gotten a little used to drawing his scales, and we'll just continue this on through his shoulder. And now we're going to cut back the other way here. I also need to make sure, forgot that little part of his sleeve. At the bottom of each intersection there. I will drop a little shadow. Kind of imagine that line going underneath the star to the other side. Come up once I meet the star. Imagine how it would go to the other side. We'll go and add the little shadows once I get the whole pattern penciled in. Drop in these little tiny shadows. It's these little tiny details that can be fun for the viewer eye. So we take the time to put them in and just enjoy the process of it all. Kind of seeing it come to life. That's always something I've enjoyed, is as I put the details in, watching it, I get to watch it come to life every day when I draw. It's one of the many reasons I love drawing, is seeing something appear out of nothing. A blank page. Now I'm kind of tempted to put some heavy black shadows in his armor here. And as I think that through, I just added some more shadows through the neck now. It would probably be, you'd probably see fewer of these lines as we go up towards the light source. So I'm just going to thin that out a little bit. But what if I added, is this too much? Sometimes I like to experiment, so we're going to experiment here. Just adding some heavier shadow here to the bottom sides of these muscle shape chunk groupings. This upper part of his arm is further away from the light, so there's going to be more shadows. So it gives us just some more dark areas. It breaks up some of the light areas, so it's kind of utilizing the negative space, positive space, and essentially negative space when you consider the big chunky black shadow and the chunk of non-shadow, I guess is what we could call it. So since the light's coming down this way, the bottom side of the pecs here are going to get this shadow treatment. And as it curves around, less and less shadow. And a lot of this will be sculpted out when we move to Copic color as well. And here underneath the arm, this is going to definitely need more black because it is casting a shadow over this portion of his torso. Be a little shadow here, just based on the shape. A little shadow here. The shadows get less as we move up towards the light. All right. pull back here, and I think we've pretty much got the pencils done for Captain America. So there we go. There are the pencils. All right, there we go. The tight pencils here of Captain America. This is a lot of fun to do, and I hope to do more tight pencil illustrations for all you budding and aspiring young artists. I appreciate everyone coming to watch my videos. Thank you for your support. If you like this video, if you like what you saw, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, this might be a good time to smash that subscribe button and set your notifications just by tapping on that bell there. You can set your notifications to alert you every time I post a new art video or schedule a new art live stream. I really appreciate y'all hanging out. Hope you had a good time, and stay tuned for the inking video coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Keep on drawing. Keep having fun.